Hi, welcome back on board. This is the third in a series of video blogs we did on a motorcycle ride around New Zealand in 2017. We got out of Picton fairly early in the morning, got the 9 o'clock inter-island ferry. Took about an hour to get over to Wellington, and as luck would have it, we had absolutely perfect weather. A quick little tip for the inter-island ferry. Make sure you've got your own tie-down straps. They've got a few on board, but they're a bit limited, so if you're taking your own bike, you need to throw a couple of those in. This part of the trip we were only passing through Wellington, and our main stay was going to be on the last week of our trip coming south. There's a couple of shots of the Rumataka crossing lookout, looking back down through the mountains, with our next stop being at Masterton overnight. We got away fairly early in the morning from Masterton, and we were heading up towards Hastings. One of our main stops along the way was Tiamata Peak Lookout. We'd heard from a couple of guys coming south what a great view it was. It was well worth the turn off out towards the lookout. It overlooked from, as you can see by the photos, right out as far as the coast, and once again the weather certainly did its part, and we had a fairly magic ride through this part of New Zealand. Like so many parts of New Zealand, just about every time you turned a corner you saw something new and spectacular, and this particular Tiamata Peak Lookout was nothing short of fairly spectacular. This next bit of footage is the ride back down from Tiamata Peak back in towards Hastings, and like so many mountain roads in New Zealand, it's just one of those roads that kept on sort of giving. Took it fairly steady given the amount of traffic that was on the road, plus we were pulled over a couple of times for coaches and that coming up, but certainly once again well worth a detour from Hastings over to have a look at it. After leaving Hastings, we proceeded along. We took the coast road through a place called Clive. Fairly beautiful little ride along the coast, mainly through farmland and quite a lot of orchards. Bit of traffic on the road as usual at this time of the year, and we were heading for Napier, which was going to be our next overnight stop, where we spent a couple of nights. Photos of a few shots there of around Napier. Basically, a little bit of history. Was a town that was almost completely destroyed in 1931 by an earthquake. They rebuilt the town in a matter of a few years, and it was obviously based on all Art Deco architecture of the time. The city fathers have done a pretty marvellous job of preserving that architecture, and it's now put Napier on the map in New Zealand of places to go and to see. A lot of history there. We obviously enjoyed the architecture, plus there was just a lot of feel-good moments there of old cars and shopping centres, and a fairly beautiful coastline. The last picture in this group of shots from Napier is the cruise terminal just outside of town. In the season it gets about 6 ships a week, and it's a fairly good testament to what a great job the town has done in bringing in tourists to this beautiful little town. Next day was from Napier up to Rotorua via Lake Taupo, and we spent a couple of days here in Rotorua. Spent a day looking around, restauranting out, and had a great day over a little place called Hell's Gate, which is a geothermal park just outside of town. Had the opportunity to slosh around in hot mud pools and geothermal hot water pools, and had a fairly good afternoon. The city itself is truly a beautiful little city, there's no doubt about it. They've spent a lot of money in bringing tourists in. We had a great time along the foreshore area. They've set up cafes and restaurant areas. You can do paddle steamer and water boat cruises off Lake Taupo. And as I said, we really enjoyed the couple of days there. It's a fairly busy town in the season, so if you're doing the accommodation thing there, you need to get in fairly early. Like a lot of places in New Zealand, we thought we were going to sort of do it day by day, but if you don't book ahead in the holiday season, you'll be sleeping on the side of the road, I'm This is just a short bit of footage riding around Lake Rotorua. They've got the foreshore fairly well set up for tourists. There's an awful lot of things to do and see. There's seaplanes and, as I said, paddle steamers and day trips and so on. The town area back between the lake and the main city area, there's a couple of historical sites and buildings that are well worth looking at. They've also got a Maori cultural centre that's well worth a look through and gives a fairly good history of the area. And as I said, we spent a day out at Hell's Gate, but there's several other geothermal activity areas that you can go in and have a look at around Rotorua, and they give a fairly good explanation of the area and the age, and they do tours pretty well 7 days a week, and they're well worth a look at, that's for sure.